Hello everyone, this is Keith Valentine. I am the Pickleball Pirate, and today we're going to be talking about paddle maintenance. How to keep your paddle healthy and how to also change the leather wrap if you need to. So first off, most paddles come with a leather wrap underneath, and that leather is designed to take the sweat off of your hand and then make the paddle itself a little bit, you can hold on to it a little bit longer, it becomes a little tacky. But the problem with this is that the leather really stays soaked for a long time. And so one of the things you can do to make your paddle last a little bit longer is after you get done playing and it's all sweaty, you want to make sure instead of putting it in your bag in your trunk, put it next to your bag. Don't put it in your bag, and don't put it in your bag in your car. Put it next to your bag in the car so it can dry out. It can get the moisture dried out. With the more air it gets, it's better for it. And then another thing is sometimes you will have to end up replacing that. So today I'm going to show you how to replace a leather grip, a leather wrap for your handle, and also to talk about a little, maybe cleaning it and reusing it. So first off, let's just unwrap this. Almost all manufacturers have a little bit of electrical tape here at the top, and we're just going to untake that electrical tape off, and I'm just going to stick it right here to the table because I'm going to just try and reuse it. If you don't have electrical tape, take care of this one and you can just reuse it. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to unwrap this Tourna grip, and you can see underneath there's these wood slats. So pretty much most of the manufacturers use balsa wood, and they use a type of wood that's really light and it's firm, but that's what they use underneath. Some of them use foam, some of them use plastic, but most of them, majority of them use wood. But what happens is this wood soaks up the sweat the same as this thing, and so if you're not letting it dry out appropriately, I've seen these covered with mold and mildew and stinky, right? So you don't want that, so you need to clean them. So the first thing you can do is you can wipe this with soapy water, hot soapy water. You can actually wash your leather wrap, and then you want to dry it as fast as possible. Get it into the sun or with a blow dryer and dry it off if you're going to reuse it. But for this exercise, I'm going to show you how to replace it. I'm putting a Engage wrap on an Engage paddle, and you'll notice that this wrap is tapered at both ends. And the reason is, so a lot of times they come with the full square here, and you're going to want to cut it. You want to cut it so it'll taper off at the end because it makes it easier to cleanly wrap the handle. And so then what I'm going to take is I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it by starting right at the edge of my paddle. So right here at the edge, I'm going to start here, and I'm going to do that first wrap right around there, and then I'm going to start angling it down to where the bottom of this is just going over the top of the wrap layer on top of it. Okay, and so we're just going to wrap this really nicely down here to where you're basically coming over a nice smooth wrap. You don't want to have ridges in it. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. You want to be pulling it tight the whole time. You want to wrap it. And a lot of times these will have sticky underneath them. And so you can just stick it and re-stick it and get it in the right spot. And you want to wrap it all the way till we're covering the wood again. And you'll see here that I'm covering the wood all the way down to the end of the paddle. And then I'm going to take this piece of electrical tape and I'm going to wrap it around the top. And there you go. We have changed our leather wrap for our paddle. So this is very easy to do. You can reuse it like I said, or you can just buy a new one if you like it. But a lot of times you have the wrong grip size. So next we're going to be covering how to cover this with an over grip. Okay, so first we replace this. Now we're going to do an over grip, and I personally like to use the Wilson ones. And the Wilson ones, they have a little bit of a plastic shield in it. So what you do is you take this, you unwrap the shield, and you'll see that it has one tapered end and one non-tapered end, okay? So for these types of wraps, for over wraps, you can use them just like this, all right? And what a lot of people do is they try to cut it and you can make it thin, but I personally like thicker grips. So what I would do is I would probably cut it down if I want it really thin. I would cut it down to maybe half of this and then just use it as a tight wrap. But let me show you how to do this. So you take the fat end, you start with the fat end in the glossy side out, and you wrap the fat end around here at the bottom. And then what I do is I go around a couple times right here because I like to have a little bit of a knob at the end of my paddle. And then what you do is you come here and you'll see a little bit of a ridge, and you want to just put your wrap right in the middle of that ridge from the previous layer. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing a very nice even wrap on this paddle. so I can give a little bit thicker. These Wilson overgrips, they do really good at soaking up water, so they get really, really tacky. So they're one of my favorite ones to use for this. And then I'm just going to continue wrapping this really slowly, and we're going to wrap this all the way to the end. And then the beauty of these types is that they already got a pre-sticky spot on here. So it has a little bitty tab here, and you just pull the tape off of that, and now you got a little sticky thing, and then you will bring it all the way around and stick it, okay? So then now I've effectively put an overgrip on. And for a normal grip, you want to have about a finger of space between your fingers here and your hand when you're gripping the paddle. So this is a perfect size for me. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this little Wilson overgrip piece of tape here, and I'm going to tape this up so it will not come undone. And there you go. Now we have replaced the handle and we put an overgrip. This feels like a brand new paddle, and this will get you moving in the right direction. So thank you folks for watching. Please hit subscribe and like, and we'll see you next time on the channel.